So nowadays, I run a ghost page specifically posting long-form content on YouTube, and a lot of people ask what is my channel. And obviously, I can't say exactly what my channel name is because that's going to screw up like my channel analytics and all of that because thousands of people will be pulling up. But I can tell you that I'm in the celebrity internet documentary niche. Basically, what a ghost page is one of those pages on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, basically all of those other platforms that post content and no one knows exactly who's behind them. You might have heard people call it TikTok clipping, faceless YouTube automation channels, faceless Instagram pages, etc. But at the end, they're all essentially just ghost pages since you don't know who's actually behind them. You don't know what they sound like. You don't even know if the person running the channel is an actual person. They could be just a whole ass company running the videos. And I've run ghost pages in the past before that got me over 100 million views on YouTube and then almost 50 million views on TikTok. Unfortunately, the TikTok didn't pay me any money at the time because I live in Canada and there was no real method to getting paid on TikTok if you lived in Canada. Like I said, I also ran a YouTube Shorts page that got me over 100 million views, but only made me $8,000 in total from that. Eventually, I got into running long-form ghost pages on YouTube, which is what I do now, and this is how I make $200,000 a year before graduating high school. Okay, so now let's go over why a high CTR and high AVD doesn't really matter, and why all of those dumb gurus teaching YouTube and social media in general are just misleading you and confusing everyone. Okay, so first of all, CTR means click-through rate and AVD means average view duration. Both of these metrics are averages, so they take all the data points, add them all up, and then divide by the number of data points collected. That's what an average is and does. And so AVD and CTR don't give you an accurate picture of what's really happening behind the scenes. For example, let's take a look at my 4th most viral video on my ghost page. Okay, so as you can see, since this video was published, it made me over 3.1 million views and made me over $11,000. Now, if we go over to CTR, you can see it's 3.3%, and it has an average view duration of 7 minutes and 25 seconds, with the retention being at 49.5%. Now, most people would think that is the worst CTR they've ever seen and that there was no possibility in getting over 3 million views with that type of CTR. And so maybe the AVD is the compensation. Well, that's completely false because I have another video to show you here, for example. As you can see here, this got a 7% CTR and also better engagement of 49.9%. But this video only got 107,000 views. That's nearly 29 times less than the previous video I showed you for the first example with a much higher CTR and a much higher AVD. Here's another example that someone had sent me of their channel. This person was running a channel in the water exploration / scuba diving niche with a Spanish voiceover. The guy told me he got a 9.7% CTR, and although I didn't show it in the pic, so you can't really see because it's not really clear, this picture, but the guy told me it's a 60.6% AVD. And then he also told me the CTR was 9.7%. But at the end, they only got 6.8 thousand views on it. And the reason why for this is because YouTube is just showing this to a very small specific audience who will always click and watch the video all the way through. But when YouTube tries to push it to a wider and different audience, such as the football niche, what ends up happening is that almost none of that audience will watch. And so YouTube will cut off that niche almost completely. Now, the reason why this person's video capped out at 6.8 thousand views is because YouTube had already pushed it to the entire audience of scuba divers, and out of them only 6.8 thousand people were truly interested and clicked and watched on the video. Now, what further narrowed their reach could also be the fact that the video was in a Spanish voiceover. So in the end, this video was narrowed even more down into Spanish speaking people who showed an interest in scuba diving, ocean adventure. So yeah, that's basically why it got 6.8 thousand views and a high AVD and high CTR. So that's why I always say topics are the #1 most important thing to having a well-performing video. So you need to understand that high CTR and high AVD does not always equal high views. These metrics hide many more important factors, but for some reason, YouTube only wants to show us a little bit of that picture. The rest of it is for us to figure out with experience. So think about it like this. Say there are 10 people in a room and you're told that on average, they make $10,090 per month. You'd think that these people are all well off, but what you're missing is the fact that 9 out of 10 of these people are only making $100 a month, while one single person in the room, it makes $100,000 a month. Now, from my experience, I know some of the other important factors that play into getting you millions of views, not just on YouTube, but also on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, etc. But for time's sake of this video, I'll just tell you that I know channel or profile engagement play a massive role in your videos getting views. And then also remarkability and shares. And a side note, I know comments matter on Instagram, Instagram, but not so much on YouTube long form. Okay, so next I'm gonna cover why editing is the second least important component when it comes to ghost pages. So everyone always thinks that you need the most hyper dopamine frying edits to keep the viewers engaged. While that is true to some extent and does definitely give some boost in retention, what is more important is topic and packaging, which is title and thumbnail. So I have these two example videos by the channels Gooby and Doobie and Fern in order to help me explain. Okay, so first let's watch Gooby and Doobie's video.
Hi, I'm Gooby from Gooby and Doobie. So I used to be a neurosurgeon. I went to college at MIT and did 4 years of medical school and 6 years of neurosurgery training, and I was a neurosurgeon for almost 10 years after all of that. So that's 20 years of my life. And
Okay, so now we're gonna switch to Fern's video.
It's 2012. Two board students from the UK come up with a prank and decide to put it online. The lie itself is harmless. It's actually pretty funny and kind of obvious, but it takes on a life of its own.
Okay, so as you can see, there is a clear difference between Gooby's video, which was titled, "I was an MIT educated neurosurgeon, now I'm unemployed and alone in the mountains. How did I get here?" which got 12 million views in 2 months, while Fern's video titled, "The weirdest hoax on the internet," only got 1.2 million views. Also in 2 months. You can clearly see that Gooby's video is literally a completely raw and uncut video with dialogue, zero editing whatsoever, while Fern's video is a Netflix tier documentary. And the reason for this is because Gooby's topic is just much more extremely remarkable, and it's shocking, it's unique, and it basically just hooks literally everyone in society to click on watch on the video. And if I search this topic up, we can see no other person on YouTube has made a video on the topic of being an MIT educated neurosurgeon and then becoming unemployed. It was so remarkable. There are dozens of other reaction and response videos to Gooby's topic, while if I search up internet hoax documentaries, we can see we've already had some other similar videos made on the topic that Fern has made, and only 2 reaction videos on top of that. Now we know that topics are more important than editing. We can then see how packaging, which is the title and thumbnail, are also tied in the first place for importance, because obviously viewers need to want to click on the video before they can actually watch any part of the video. So as you can see, high-end editing is not as important as people think, and it's basically just a side. So the order of importance basically goes like this: topic and packaging at first place, script writing second, editing third, and then voiceover last place. Now this is probably the most valuable information there is on YouTube. So there's 5 main criteria that will cause a video to go viral, and the more of these criteria you can hit, the more viral your video will go. But I don't want to leak so much sauce in public, so I'll just summarize them. Anyways, the first criteria is what I like to call TAM, which is total addressable market, which basically measures how wide your video can appeal to an audience. And the way to help with that, to make your content as broad as possible, is just by making sure you choose a broad niche in the first place. The second one is making sure the idea of your video can be clearly described, meaning that whatever title you come up with must immediately match the hook of your video within the first 30 seconds. The third is being remarkability, which is what I explained regarding topics. So you gotta learn how to make them better or new, and I do have an exact framework I use to consistently come up with these remarkable topics, thumbnails, and titles, but obviously I can't leak all of that for free. And the fourth criteria is proof of success. So you want to make sure that you take inspiration from a topic that is only an outlier, meaning a video that performed significantly better than usual. So let's just say a channel normally gets 1,000 views per video, and then one video comes along and gets 100,000 views. So that would be a huge outlier by 100 times. So I would recommend only taking inspiration from other outlier videos and just stay away from flopped videos like 1,000 views. This criteria, I can't fully leak exactly how to know if inspiration videos are outliers, since I only tell that to the people in my one-to-one mentorship. Then the fifth criteria is to make sure that the inspiration videos you're looking at have recently been posted. So don't look at outliers from 5 or 2 years ago. Now this doesn't always mean that you should ignore these. I myself came across videos that were outliers from years ago. I repurposed them and it got me a ton of views. So sometimes this fifth criteria doesn't always work, but the more recent, the better. So to summarize the whole video, first I explained why CTR and ABD don't really matter and aren't really important, and how dumb gurus are scamming and misleading literally everyone by telling everyone otherwise. Next, I covered why editing is one of the least important factors and aspects of a video's performance. And last, my 5 main criteria to know if a topic is good to choose, which were 1, making sure your topics, your titles and thumbnails are remarkable, which means being better or new. 2 and 3 was making sure your topic was inspired by outliers that have been posted recently, taking inspiration from those videos that have a proof of concept of working and have proof of success. And then 5th, make sure your topic caters to a large TAM or total addressable market. And if you want to join the waitlist to apply for my one-to-one mentorship and you want to learn how to make money with ghost pages on YouTube, whether it be shorts or long forms, you can join the waitlist to apply in the link in the description.